Dr. Park Ji-woo looked at the ice core sample with wide eyes. The cold Antarctic air made her breath turn into small clouds. She had been studying strange movement patterns deep under the ice for weeks now, and what she found made no sense. 3 miles down, she whispered. Perfect squares and triangles. Nature doesn't make shapes like this. The research station was small, but filled with the best equipment science could offer. 5 scientists had been living there for 6 months, looking for signs of ancient climate changes in the ice. None of them expected to find what looked like artificial structures buried deep beneath Antarctica. Ji-woo called across the room. Dr. Kim, you need to see this right away. Dr. Kim Ta-hyun walked over, still holding his morning coffee. His eyes were tired from late-night analysis, but they widened when he saw Ji-woo's computer screen. These readings can't be right, he said, putting his coffee down and taking a closer look at the 3D model. The computer must be broken. I checked it 3 times, Ji-woo said. Whatever is down there, it's not a natural formation. The patterns are too regular, too perfect. Ta-hyun pointed to the colored areas showing material composition. This doesn't match anything in our database. Not rock, not metal, not any compound we know about. The discovery was too important to keep quiet. Ji-woo sent their findings to the research headquarters in Seoul. Within 48 hours, a special drilling team arrived by helicopter, bringing equipment designed to reach deep beneath the ice without disturbing the surrounding area. The drilling took 4 days of non-stop work. On the 5th day, they hit something solid. It wasn't ice or rock. The drill bit stopped as if it had hit a wall. Lower the camera, ordered the drill team leader. Everyone gathered around the monitors as the small camera descended into the narrow hole. At first, they saw only darkness. Then the lights on the camera revealed something smooth and gray. It looks like metal, someone said. But no metal should be down there, replied Ji-woo. This area has been covered in ice for at least 100,000 years. The team sent down special tools to collect a small sample of the material. When it returned to the surface, Ji-woo reached out and touched it. The moment her fingers made contact, the gray material lit up with a soft blue light. Everyone in the room stepped back. It's responding to you, Ta-hyun said, his voice shaking. Ji-woo didn't move her hand away. The blue light pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. It feels warm, she said. The instruments in the research station began to detect energy coming from deep below. Power signatures that hadn't been there before were now appearing on their screens. It's activating, said Ji-woo. Whatever this thing is, it's waking up. She carefully documented everything with her free hand, taking pictures and notes. The material continued to glow under her touch. We need to contact Seoul immediately, she said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. And then every major research institution worldwide. This is bigger than us. Within hours, the news had reached government offices around the world. Within days, other research teams began searching for similar anomalies on other continents. A week after Ji-woo's discovery, a team in Siberia found the same type of structure. 3 days later, another was discovered beneath the Amazon rainforest. By the end of the month, 7 identical structures had been located, one on each continent. Each one responded the same way to human touch. Each one began to emit the same energy signatures. The UN Security Council called an emergency meeting. Leaders from around the world gathered to discuss what the discoveries meant. Scientists presented their findings, showing that the structures appeared to be made of the same unknown material and had the same perfect geometric patterns. These structures were placed deliberately, Ji-woo explained to the world leaders. They respond to human contact. They are beginning to activate after what must be thousands or even millions of years of dormancy. The reality slowly dawned on humanity. Earth had never been just a planet. Something had been hidden beneath their feet all along. Something not made by human hands. Something that had been waiting. As night fell over the research station in Antarctica, Ji-woo stood outside, looking up at the stars. The ice beneath her feet now felt different, knowing what lay below. Whatever humanity had discovered, it was just the beginning of a much larger story. Professor Lee Dongha ran his fingers through his messy hair as he stared at the strange symbols on his computer screen. For 3 months, he had led a team of the world's best code breakers and language experts. They worked day and night to understand the technology found beneath the Earth's surface. "I think we found something," he said to the tired faces around him. "Look at this pattern." On the main screen, symbols from the Antarctic structure appeared next to similar symbols from the structures found in Asia, Africa, and South America. They weren't identical, but they followed the same rules. "It's like they're speaking different dialects of the same language," said Professor Lee. The international team had set up a central command center in Seoul. Scientists from 52 countries worked together, sharing every discovery. After weeks of dead ends, they finally had a breakthrough when they realized the structures responded to specific sound frequencies. "It's not just light and touch," Professor Lee explained during the daily video conference with world leaders. "The structures respond to sound. When we play certain tones, new interfaces appear." The screens behind him showed the progress they had made. Basic control panels had been found in each structure. When activated, they displayed maps and diagrams that no one fully understood yet. "We've discovered something important," Professor Lee continued. "The structures are sending signals to each other. They're communicating across continents." "What are they saying?" asked the French president. "We don't know exactly, but the signals increased after we accessed the control panels. They're not separate entities, they're components of something larger." The German chancellor leaned forward. "Larger how?" "We believe they form a network or system," Professor Lee explained, "like organs in a body or parts of a machine." After the meeting, the team received permission to attempt a first activation sequence. They had discovered what appeared to be a startup procedure in the Antarctic Structures database. Researcher Yoon Ha-jin was in charge of monitoring global reactions. As Professor Lee began the sequence, she watched her screens carefully. "Energy levels are rising at all sites," she reported. "The structures are responding." The activation seemed simple at first, just a series of tones played in a specific order. But the response was immediate and worldwide. "Seismic activity detected," called one of the monitoring team. "Starting in Antarctica and spreading outward." On the large world map display, red dots appeared showing earthquake sensors triggering around the globe. But these weren't normal earthquake patterns. "The movement is too regular," said Ha-jin. "Too controlled." Reports flooded in from coastal cities. The ocean had pulled back from shores and then returned to normal levels, but without the destructive tsunamis that should have followed such movement. Earth itself seemed to shudder, but in a strange, rhythmic way. "The energy signatures from all structures are synchronizing," Ha-jin said, pointing to her monitor. "It's as if they're waking up together." Professor Lee watched in amazement as new displays lit up on the control panel. The symbols were changing, showing new information. Military satellites, now focused on the structures around the world, sent back alarming images. The ground was moving. Massive sections of Earth's crust were shifting, but not in the random, destructive pattern of earthquakes. The movement was precise, mechanical. "Look at this," said Ha-jin, pulling up the satellite feeds. "That's not natural movement." The team watched as a massive section of Antarctic ice split apart in a perfect line. Similar patterns appeared in the Sahara Desert, the Siberian plains, and deep in the Amazon jungle. Great seams opened in the earth, but instead of magma or destruction, they revealed smooth surfaces of the same unknown material they had first discovered. Deep humming sounds began to register on audio equipment. The sounds came from miles beneath the surface. Enormous engines starting up after lying dormant for thousands or perhaps millions of years. In one satellite image, a massive circular section of the Pacific Ocean floor began to rise slightly, the water above it forming a perfect whirlpool pattern. "They're not just structures," Ha-jin whispered, the realization hitting her. "They're ships. We've been living on top of starships. The room fell silent as everyone processed this information. Humanity had built cities, nations, and civilizations on the surface of vessels they never knew existed. Everything they thought they knew about Earth's history suddenly needed to be reconsidered. Professor Lee looked at the control panel, which now displayed what was unmistakably a star map. "We need to alert the world leaders immediately," he said. "Everything is about to change." The first strange signals came just 3 hours after the giant ships began to wake up. Radio operators around the world noticed it at the same time. Every frequency was suddenly filled with sounds and patterns no one had ever heard before. These weren't random noises or interference. They had structure and rhythm, like a language. Dr. Choi Sang-min sat in his new office at the Planetary Defense Headquarters, a facility built in just 2 weeks beneath Seoul. Governments worldwide had quickly realized they needed a unified response team for whatever was happening to Earth. As the world's leading expert in communication theory, Dr. Choi had been chosen to lead this critical team. "The signals are getting stronger," his assistant said, placing a tablet on his desk. "And they're changing." Dr. Choi studied the patterns. "They're becoming more organized, more focused." He looked up at the wall of screens showing signal patterns from around the world. "Something out there noticed when the ships woke up, and now it's trying to talk to us." For the next 5 days, Dr. Choi's team worked nonstop to understand the signals. They used the world's most powerful computers to look for patterns, for anything that might help them understand the message. But the signals remained beyond their understanding. On the morning of the 6th day, alarms sounded throughout the facility. One of the monitoring technicians called out, "Multiple objects entering Earth orbit. They're not ours." The screens showed the objects clearly. 17 vessels of various sizes and shapes, all clearly not made by human hands. They positioned themselves in a perfect circle around Earth. "This is either first contact or the beginning of an invasion," said General Park, the military liaison. Dr. Choi shook his head. "If they wanted to attack, they would have done it already. They're waiting for something." He turned to his team. "They're waiting for us to answer." With the world's leaders watching via secure video, Dr. Choi prepared humanity's first message to the alien vessels. His hand shook slightly as he input the carefully crafted words. "We come in peace and wish to understand your presence," he transmitted, sending the message in all known human languages. For several minutes, there was no response. The room was completely silent as everyone stared at the screens, waiting. Then, every speaker in the room came to life at once. A clear voice spoke in perfect Korean, startling Dr. Choi. "You have activated the cradle ships. How is this possible? No species has succeeded in millions of years." The message repeated in every human language, one after another. Everyone in the room looked at each other, shocked not just by the response, but by how easily the aliens had mastered human languages. "They know about the ships," whispered Dr. Choi. "They know what they are." Over the next few hours, communication continued. The aliens requested a face-to-face meeting, and a location was set, a neutral site in international waters of the Pacific Ocean. Dr. Choi was chosen to lead the human delegation. As the helicopter approached the meeting point, Dr. Choi saw a strange platform had appeared on the ocean's surface. It seemed to have risen from below, another part of the vast technology hidden within Earth. When they landed, 3 figures waited for them. They were clearly not human, taller, with blue-tinted skin and large, deep eyes. Dr. Choi approached them slowly, his heart racing. "I am Dr. Choi Sang-min, representing Earth," he said. The middle figure stepped forward. "I am Ambassador Xith, representing the Galactic Council of 17 species." Its voice was musical, with strange echoes. "You know about these ships we've discovered?" Dr. Choi asked. "We know them as the cradle ships," Sith replied. "Most believe them to be only legends, stories told about the most advanced vessels ever created." The alien delegation explained how the ships were built by a race known as the Precursors, who had disappeared millions of years ago. The ships were famous in galactic history. but no one had ever found them, and those who claimed to have found them could never activate them. "We believe they were lost forever," said Sith, "or that they never existed at all. And now your species has not only found them but awakened them. This is unexpected. Why could we activate them when others couldn't?" Dr. Choi asked. Sith studied him carefully. "Your neural patterns," the alien explained, moving closer to examine Dr. Choi with what appeared to be a scanning device. "They resonate with the ship systems in ways we cannot replicate. This is unprecedented." Dr. Choi tried to understand the implications. "Are you saying these ships were made to be used by humans specifically?" "That," said Sith, "is the question that has brought 17 species to your world in great haste. Because if humans can control the most powerful fleet ever created, everything in our galaxy is about to change." As night fell over the meeting platform, lights began to shine from beneath the ocean all around them. The cradle ships were continuing to awaken, responding to the presence of humans. And somewhere in deep space, Dr. Choi realized, other civilizations were now very interested in Earth and its people. The meeting with alien representatives ended poorly. Ambassador Sith stood tall before the human delegation and made the Galactic Council's position clear. "These vessels are classified as precursor technology under Section 47 of Galactic Heritage Laws," Sith announced. "All precursor artifacts must be surrendered to the Council for proper preservation and study." Dr. Choi Sang-min tried to remain calm. "These ships have been part of our planet for perhaps our entire history. They are as much a part of Earth as our oceans." "Your claim is irrelevant," another alien representative cut in. "Your species has no standing in galactic legal matters. You have 1 Earth week to prepare for transfer of control." After the humans left the meeting, the alien coalition did not wait. Within hours, small military probes entered Earth's atmosphere. They were clearly designed to scan and map the newly awakened ships. Some tried to interface with the control systems that humans had discovered. Deep beneath the Pacific Ocean, Captain Han Su-bin stood in what they now understood was the primary control chamber of the largest cradle ship. Military forces from 7 nations had quickly established a defensive perimeter around all known access points to the ship systems. Su-bin had been chosen to lead the Pacific Defense Team because of her experience with the ship's interfaces. She watched as small red dots appeared on the main display, showing the alien probes attempting to access the ship's systems. "They're trying to override our controls," said her second-in-command. Su-bin placed her hand on the central control panel. As always, it lit up at her touch. But this time, something new happened. The entire room shifted color, changing from blue to a deep purple. New displays appeared, showing defensive systems that hadn't been accessible before. "The ship is responding," she said in wonder. "It's giving us new options." When Su-bin activated one of the new systems, the alien probes immediately lost power and fell from the sky. At the same time, communication channels opened between all 7 ships around the world, allowing the defense teams to coordinate their efforts. "The ships are helping us defend them," Su-bin realized. "They're choosing us." She quickly reported this discovery to the United Earth Defense Council, a newly formed body representing all nations with territory containing the ships. "When alien forces tried to override ship systems, the technology responded to us," she explained over the secure video link. "They gave us defensive capabilities and communication advantages. The ships respond to human operators in ways they don't respond to the aliens." This discovery changed everything. Nations that had been enemies for centuries found themselves working together. China and the United States shared research. North and South Korea formed joint defense teams. Old enemies throughout the world united under a single purpose. Humanity would not surrender their planet or the technology that had been beneath their feet all along. Within days, alien diplomatic vessels returned, this time with larger warships hanging back near Mars. "We do not wish conflict," said a new alien representative. "But the cradle ships cannot remain under control of an unproven species." Earth's unified response was delivered by President Kang of the newly formed United Earth government. We did not ask for these ships, but they have chosen to respond to us. We will not surrender what may be the foundation of our planet itself. As tensions increased, more ship systems began to activate. Captain Su Bin and her team discovered entire databases of ancient knowledge becoming accessible. The information was vast: history, science, and technology beyond human understanding. But the most important discovery was the true purpose of the cradle ships. They were designed as lifeboats, Su Bin explained to the Defense Council. The precursors built them as safeguards against extinction. When their civilization faced a threat they couldn't overcome, they created these ships to preserve life. President Kang visited the Pacific Control Chamber himself to see the evidence. After studying the ancient records, he approved a global broadcast to all of Earth's people. Citizens of Earth, he began, his face appearing on screens worldwide. The ships beneath our feet were created with a sacred purpose. They were not built as weapons of war, but as arks to preserve life when all other hope was lost. He stood beside the glowing control panel, which seemed to shine brighter at his presence. We have inherited not just amazing technology, but a profound responsibility, he continued. These ships weren't meant to be weapons. They were meant to preserve life. And now, that mission falls to us. As President Kang spoke, the alien warships moved closer to Earth. The next few days would determine whether humanity's inheritance would become a blessing or the cause of their destruction. The standoff between humanity and the alien coalition lasted 3 tense days. Then something unexpected happened. The cradle ships began their final activation sequence without any human command. People around the world felt the ground shake beneath their feet, not violently, but with a steady rhythmic movement. Animals seemed to sense what was happening before humans did. Birds took to the sky in great flocks. Whales and dolphins gathered in the oceans. In the Pacific Control Chamber, Captain Han Subin watched in amazement as new systems lit up across the control panel. "It's happening everywhere," her communications officer reported. "All 7 ships are activating at once." On screens worldwide, people watched as great cracks appeared in the Earth. These weren't random breaks, but perfect lines that followed what humans had always thought were natural fault lines. Now they saw the truth. Those natural features had been disguised seams all along. Everyone remained calm. President Kang urged in an emergency broadcast. The ships appear to be completing a pre-programmed sequence. All evidence suggests this is not dangerous to human life. The alien fleet moved back, retreating to a safe distance as Earth itself began to transform. Massive sections of the planet's crust shifted along the manufactured seams. The oceans remained surprisingly stable, contained by fields of energy that became visible as faint blue lines across the water. After 3 days of gradual movement, the process completed. Where there had once been a single planet, now 7 massive vessels floated in formation. Each one was the size of a small continent, carrying pieces of Earth's surface, cities, forests, mountains, and oceans, safely preserved on their upper levels. At the center floated what remained of Earth's core, but it wasn't a dead rock as scientists expected. It glowed with stable energy, a self-sustaining stellar engine that apparently had been there all along, hidden beneath layers of rock and metal. The alien coalition, faced with humans now piloting the most advanced fleet known to exist, quickly changed their approach. Their warships withdrew. New diplomatic vessels arrived. The Galactic Council requests formal relations with Earth. The new message stated, "We recognize your right to the cradle ships and offer friendship." What had begun as intimidation transformed into cautious respect. 2 months later, Dr. Ba Minho led Earth's delegation to the first Galactic Summit. The meeting took place on a neutral space station near Alpha Centauri. Representatives from over 30 spacefaring civilizations attended, all eager to learn about the humans and their incredible ships. The most fascinating discovery, Dr. Ba explained to the assembled aliens, is that the ships were waiting for us to be ready. They were programmed to awaken when their occupants reached a specific developmental threshold. He showed data from the ship databases, but it wasn't technological advancement that triggered them. It was something else, perhaps a capacity for unity, or a particular kind of consciousness. When humans finally began working together globally to understand the ships, that's when the final activation sequence began. The most surprising revelation came from genetic research. Dr. Ba displayed the results on the large screen for all to see. We have found subtle markers in human DNA that match patterns in the precursor database, he said. This suggests a connection we never imagined. We may be their descendants, or at least partly designed by them. This news caused a stir among the alien representatives. Some seemed troubled by this information. Others were fascinated. The precursors did not simply vanish, Dr. Ba concluded. They transformed. They became us. 1 year after Dr. Park, Ji Woo first discovered the strange pattern beneath the Antarctic ice. The human-piloted fleet prepared for its maiden voyage beyond the solar system. Each ship now carried millions of humans, along with carefully preserved ecosystems from Earth. On the bridge of the flagship, Captain Ne Junho stood looking out at the stars. After months of training, he still found it hard to believe he was commanding a vessel of this size and power. "All 7 ships report ready, Captain," said Officer Kwon Yunji from her station. "Navigation systems are synchronized." Captain Na took a deep breath. He thought about his childhood home in a small coastal town, now preserved on the 3rd ship in their fleet. He remembered how it felt to stand on Earth's surface, never suspecting what lay beneath. Now humanity carried their home among the stars. "Send a message to all ships," he said. "Prepare for departure." The bridge crew worked at their stations, their movements confident after months of practice. The ship hummed with energy that had been dormant for millions of years. "Navigation is ready," reported Officer Kwon. "All ships reporting synchronized systems." Captain Na nodded. "Engage primary drives," he ordered. "Let's introduce ourselves to the galaxy." The massive ships, ancient yet new, moved in perfect harmony. They carried not just the remains of Earth, but its people, animals, plants, all life that had evolved under the watchful care of technology designed to preserve life at all costs. Humanity had found its true inheritance, not just ships or technology, but a place among the stars that had perhaps been waiting for them all along.